Yeah, I think it's important to, there's a time and place for ego.
Yeah.
Not many times and places, I guess. Most of the time, no. Most of the time, ego is bad.
Yeah. Most of the time, ego is really
I guess
bad.
we can pivot here. I'd say that ego is probably the reason for most of the bad things that happen.
100%. And for those in our audience that may not know, what is your definition of ego? Or what is the definition of ego?
Are we talking... We're not talking the fake Freud stuff, right?
I'm not talking the Freud stuff. Yeah.
Ego, to me, is not only the belief that, you are better, but also the desire to want to enforce that and prove that and show it to everyone. Because it's fine to believe that... It's honestly fine if you want, not fine.
It's okay.
It's acceptable to believe I'm better at this, or I'm good at something, because that's the time and place for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time and place for confidence. Confidence, I think, will play into ego. Mm-hmm. It's not it's the difference between cocky and confident. Both are forms of ego, but confidence is good. Cocky is what causes problems. Mm-hmm. So I'm big into I watch a lot of there's a channel called Active Self-Defense, and it's a lot of people getting into bad situations, whether it be sometimes it's robbers, whatever, and it shows how they deal with it, or it's but a lot of times it's confrontations between two guys, maybe on the highway or something. Someone cuts someone off and someone just pulls a gun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of those things, most of those situations, actually I'd say 99.9% of all of those situations can be solved by just diminishing your ego.
Yeah.
In those scenarios, if someone bumps into you, even if it was 100% they were intentionally doing it, they're trying to start a fight, they're looking for something. Yeah. Just say, hey, sorry, man. I didn't mean anything.
Trying to diffuse the entire situation.
That's the big thing about
because you never know who you're gonna run into.
Yeah.
This makes me think about the I think it was Oklahoma football guys versus the MMA guys at the bar.
Oh yeah, you showed me that video. Yeah.
So I don't know how this all went down, but the part of the recording that we saw is that these two giant football studs from Oklahoma State, I think that's where they're from, Oklahoma State, some college, just start pushing on these two smaller dudes. And I think these two dudes are brothers. And the guy that gets pushed, he leans over to his brothers and says, hey, which one do you want? And after he says that, he wipes the blood off of his nose, I think he was punched earlier, and just starts beating up on the other two dudes. It was just it was nuts. You don't know who you're going to mess with. And that's a situation where ego you let your ego is way too high. Sometimes you just got to bring it down.
I mean, sometimes it's because I feel in that scenario, like I said, I don't know, but in a lot of those scenarios, it seems like it's people starting stuff because of their ego. There's also a problem with people that there are some people who have that ego battle with you, right? And sometimes it's hard. It's hard, right? A lot of people talk about this. I know Jago's talked about this. I know most people have talked about this. It's really, really hard because you don't want to show weakness, right? You don't want everyone to see, oh, that guy's weak. That guy walked away. He's not a man, right? Because that's what you're thinking in your head that everyone's going to think of you. It's really hard to do that. Yeah. But part of holding yourself,
you need to be the bigger man.
Being the bigger man, because you're better people are held to just a higher responsibility. There is a calling, diffusing the situation is one of the most important skills someone can have, as well as just one of the most admirable. Someone who's willing to someone even if you can take them or you have an edge on them or something like that. Being smart, because it's smart. You don't want to risk accidentally maybe you accidentally killed a dude, jail time. Maybe accidentally maybe they have friends there that'll mess you up when you don't notice.
People are weak too. You might just punch them one time, kind of hard. It shakes them a little bit. They go down. They hit their head on a stool, a cement, the ground, and brain damage. They die.
Yeah, and
because of the one punch you threw.
And it's not even from a moral thing taking a life or something. It's really just you have to look out for yourself and your loved ones. If you go to prison, dude, was it worth losing everything just so you could prove you're a man? Yeah. And it's not proving you're a man either.
Even if it's a completely different situation. Most cases it's not. Making that mistake, throwing that punch, no matter even if they truly deserved it, it's not worth it at the end of the day.
Because what do you get out of it? You get
your ego gets bumped even more. You wanted a fight.
You think, yeah, I took this dude. But it's like, at the end of the day, you got possible court case. Yeah. You've got maybe his friends are angry. Maybe they come after you later.
Yeah, this is all assuming that you won the fight. This is assuming everything went your way. What if he pulls a gun or pulls a knife or knows how to fight?
It's just really
it's not a good situation to be in at all.
The highway ones I brought up too. It's a lot of guys they'll be cut off or something, and like they'll just go and cut the other person off. I'm like, dude, like even okay, especially if you make the mistake, if you cut someone off instead of like and they do something to you, just like wave, like wave. Yeah. A wave can solve 75% of those situations.
Yes. I don't understand people that have like the road rage. I don't have that in me at all. If somebody cuts me off, I'm just kind of like, I must have had a bad day or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of chilling. But how are you with that?
Well, you know I have road rage. Luke, he'll be sitting in my car and like I'll like yell sometimes, or like I'll kind of just like curse under my breath. Yeah. But I would never take an action. You know, it's stupid because not only would I be putting myself in a bad situation, I'd also be endangering everyone in the car. Yeah. And it's like I would never intentionally do an action like that not an unnecessary action to endanger my loved ones and like friends.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's
but you'll do something really close. You'll like speed up a little bit. You'll do something that might annoy them a little bit, but never enough to that crosses the line.
I would never
where it puts anybody in danger.
Yeah. I would never, try to cut them off again or like try to speed past and like race them. I would like.
I feel like you might race them.
No, because I've seen too many videos of just people who just pull guns. Like,
wow,
because you don't know if maybe they're just having an ego battle or whatever, and like that'll settle it, like a race or whatever, then they'll calm down. But like most people, like a lot of those people, they like you said, they could just be having a really bad day. You could be the thing that pushes them over the edge. They just pull the gun, like.
Yeah, I let those people be. I'm just like, whatever, cut me off. I don't care.
I also have transitioning again. I also have a pretty big, like one of my biggest, I guess tenets in life. I don't know if I used that right.
Wow, you have tenets?
Yeah, I have tenets in my, but like one of my biggest like tenets. I think, right? Tenets, like beliefs.
No, yeah, you're using it right. I'm just surprised that you have them.
Yeah, well, one of my biggest tenets in life is don't make enemies. Right, because
that's fair.
My thing is I don't seek out harm because I'm very paranoid. We've discussed this before. I'm very paranoid, and I'm always worried that this person is going to come after my family, find my address, come after my family.
Golden rule, dude.
Yeah,
we were talking about earlier. It's the best rule. There's a reason why it's called the golden rule.
Yeah, and
treat others as you would treat yourself, essentially.
Yeah, and it's just that's a part of it. Yeah. I think part of it's like I wouldn't want that, but part of it's also just. I don't know the craziness in those people. Right? I've had some friends in the past, like still friends, but they're definitely on the crazier side. And like I never set them off, even if they're like a good friends of mine. I never set them off because they could just like lose control.
They scare you a little bit.
They scare me. Yeah. They legitimately scare me. And I know that there's so many of those people out there that just terrify me when they get mad.
They need that one thing, that one little push over the edge.
They just need an excuse.
Yeah.
They're just looking for an excuse. Yeah. Like I know some people they might like find your address, go after your family, right? I'm not really like if they come after me, all right, you know what, like whatever. But like I'm worried that they go after my family. That's my biggest worry, right? Like that they bring other people into it, and it's just not worth taking the risk to put other people in danger when I could easily just diffuse the situation. Even like I have a pretty big ego.
Yeah,
I've got an ego problem, but I also that paranoia keeps me in check. That fear of everyone else keeps me in check because I don't start stuff. Like you've seen me, even though I get angry, I've never like really confronted people because like I'm not
other than like your friends.
Yeah, like because friends like I think you're.
We can handle it.
When you're real good friends, like you're supposed to be able to like really like go at each other for like call people out on stuff, right?
Yeah. That just makes you a good friend.
Yeah, that makes people out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like with strangers, especially, it's something that really.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of strangers at all. I've noticed that.
That's
what keeps you from going out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like even just like out to grab some food or hang out in like a public area is just strangers. You don't know what's going to happen.
I just don't. This is more belief. I don't believe in the goodness of humanity. I'd say.
Do.
I believe
there. I 100%.
I believe there are good people.
Yeah.
There 100% there are good people. I know plenty of great people.
I would say there's more good people than bad people, and I would say There's quite a bit.
I'd say so. I'd say there's plenty of people who have better.
But like, you just need one bad egg.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. I don't know if like maybe these people are good, but like maybe one of these times I confront someone, just dude is not having it, and he just pulls a gun. You know, like it's really just not. Like I said, it keeps me in check, and I think it's a good thing. Because like with my ego, I could easily be one of those really confrontational assholes that just picks fights, you know. Yeah. But I also think it's a base intelligence, not even like intelligence. It's just a base like awareness. It's an awareness that there are people out there more dangerous, more insane, and frankly stronger than me. Yeah. And I'm not willing to take that risk that this person is going to be the one that like lets my comment slide or something. You know, like that's not a risk. I don't like rolling the dice on that. No. Because like you said, even if you win the fight, know what to expect. Yeah. Even if you win the fight, like what do you get? Like an ego boost? You want to fight? You want an argument? Great.
Yeah. Your street record is now 1-0. Yeah. Ooh.
Like the negatives, just there are so many negatives and literally zero positives. There's no positives to it. And so I think just overall,
but that's where people get in trouble. They don't think about that. Once they get that adrenaline rush, they start to see red. They don't think about consequences.
I think that's hard. I think I'm in the spot where I get angry very easily, like pretty angry pretty easily. But I still have that like inhibition to keep me in check. But I definitely understand. That's the thing. Like even though I'm saying all this and preaching basically. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not rational. I'm not saying, I'm saying as a human, honestly, if you don't have that instinct, there's an issue. Like, I think every human needs that instinct, like the fight or flight, you know, the survival instinct.
Everybody has it. Yeah.
It's healthy. It's a healthy thing to have. But it's the people who
seek it out.
Yeah. You seek it out, or you just don't think, you just don't think it through. It's just people who don't think.
And the people that are seeking it out aren't thinking it through. Yeah. Yeah.
I think would you say you're a confrontational person ever?
No, come on, dude.
No, okay. I was just saying it for the camera. But especially you don't get. I've never seen you angry.
No, I get frustrated, but it's never angry.
Yeah, I maybe seen upset or kind of like if you're tired, maybe a little annoyed,
a little grumpy.
Yeah, a little grumpy, but I think I'm. What about your friend group? Am I like?
You're the angriest person.
Am I?
Yeah. But you don't hold grudges, which is really sometimes you do it in a joking way, but you don't hold true grudges.
Yeah, and
I think that's what separates you from a normal person and someone that could be kind of dangerous. Is that even though you do get angry easier than a lot of people, you don't hold that with you forever. You don't. You kind of let it go. You a couple hours go by.
And we talk and we're playing games again.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I think that is an issue though. That's something I want to fix because I have an issue in friendships because I think part of this comes from my parents. A lot of times my parents and I will argue and then they'll just be over it and then I'm still thinking about it and I'm like, well, I can't let it go that easily.
Yeah.
I kind of do the same thing to some people because I know even if they're friends or whatever, sometimes I'll lose my temper and I know even though I might think okay, we can get over it, you know, it's just an argument. Like in my mind, arguments happen. Yeah. You get over it. You're friends, right? You're friends because you get over things. Yeah. But I know a lot of my friends maybe and I'm not blaming them. I think it's perfectly fair for them to hold grudges over me getting angry at them. Yeah. So that's something I'm trying to fix because it's definitely hard when you're trying to make up for something. Cause I'll go out of my way to try to make up for stuff, right? I do feel remorse after I've kind of lost my temper at someone because it's hard for me to control. Yeah. I do feel remorse and I try to make up for it, but I understand when someone's kind of holding a grudge against me. Yeah. That's kind of the hard part is that I don't hold grudges, so I don't think about it anymore. You know, I'm past that. I'll maybe make fun of you for it. I'll, like you said, joking way. I'll maybe be the dishes or the toilet seat.
Or we'll joke about it a day later.
Yeah. But I think it's just hard. It sounds like I'm complaining. I'm oh, it's so hard being me because I get angry.
I mean, I don't know. We all live in a subject size one pool of our emotions. We only understand what we're going through, and that's what we have to. I don't know, compare the rest of the world to, and see it through our lens, and I don't know, make us. It makes us unique in a way.
I do think so okay, this is gonna sound like I'm bragging, but I do think I am good at understanding other people's emotions. I think not empathy. I am very good at sympathy. I understand completely what something I'm gonna say is gonna make that person feel. Okay. But I think the hard part is when I'm angry, it's hard to think about the consequences because I'm like I just want to say this thing. I just want to like I said, I'm not typically the confrontational type, but sometimes I can get pushed over that edge, and it's really easy for me to say some bad things, right? I don't know if I've done it in front of you, but like I've done it to people before, and I feel bad after.
I've seen hints of it
because like I think my thing is
flashes.
I'm not even bragging, like I'm not bragging about this, but like I'm really good at hitting people where it hurts. Because that's the thing. I sympathize. I know what people are feeling, so I know how to get to them.
You know their weakness.
So I know exactly what will get each person. So that's the hard part. Because
so why do you do that then? Is that an ego thing?
What do you mean? Like the going at them?
Going at them where they know it hurt, where you know it hurts.
It's not. I'm not doing it to like.
Are you trying to like kick them while they're down and kick them really hard?
It's more of a like.
You're aiming for the head and going for the kill shot.
It's not even like to gain anything out of it. That's the worst part, right? It's not even like, actually maybe it's better that I'm not doing it for personal gain. It's a lot of times I just get angry and like sometimes I'll like try to like I try really hard to win. Right? Like arguments are really hard for me to let go because I don't like, it's not even the being wrong. I'm fine being wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like being made fun of for being wrong. And in a lot of friend groups, like especially ours, you get made fun of for being wrong, right? Yeah. Like if you get proven wrong, you get showed wrong. So it's hard for me to like take that abuse. I think for a while.
Abuse.
Like put lightly, right?
Yeah.
So like or put heavily. But it's hard for me. So sometimes I'll like in fear of that, I'll kind of just resort to like my weapon, which is, you know, like attacking. Personal kind of like not even personal, but just like getting them where like I know it'll get them. Mm-hmm. And like I said, like I legitimately do feel bad. Mm-hmm. Like other people no, but like friends, like yeah, I legitimately do feel bad when I like make like genuinely get a friend to feel bad because I'm not trying to get them to feel bad. I guess I'm just trying to make myself like not lose. I guess, you know, like I'm trying to even us out. I'm trying to put us on the same playing field, but I always accidentally go too far.
You always go too far.
I always go too far.
You always go too far. Typically.
But it's like,
especially when you want to win, when you get that I need to win mentality, you always take a step or two too far.
I think typically in arguments, I'm not usually like whenever we have arguments, I never like go personal though. You know, like I like dissect your argument, or, like I dissect like things like that. Yeah. But I never like take that personal.
No.
And
never.
But yeah, definitely it's something hard, especially when it's like more of a personal kind of like debate, like something like we're talking about someone's decision or like someone's like action, and I'm trying to call them out on that. Yeah. It's really hard because I won't say, because it sounds bad, like me saying, I'm doing it out of love or I care for them or something. Yeah. But sometimes it literally is just because I do it because, for example, I'm trying to look out for them. Mm-hmm. They're making most of the time it's because they're making a decision that I don't think is good for them. Yeah. I'm trying to get them to see it, and I do it in a bad way.
I think everybody needs a friend like Dave. In the sense of, not all friends are going to call you out on your bullshit. And you're 100% willing to be like, I don't think this is the right path for you. I don't think what you're doing is right. Yeah. And it's good to get that reality check from a friend. Everybody needs a Dave.
I think the problem is, like, I'm kind of weighing the options because on one hand, I know I take it too far. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a little too aggressive with it. Yeah. And I know people don't respond well to that. But on the other hand, I think the reason why I get so like agitated is because I'm literally trying to I'm really trying to help them. I'm not doing it for personal gain. I'm really trying to do the best, like what I think is like best for them. And sometimes, you know, people are stubborn. I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn all the time. But when people are stubborn, when I'm like trying to look out for them, it kind of annoys you. You know, like if you were giving a friend advice, and like they just kept doing this thing that you knew was just terrible for them, like. Maybe like a relationship, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking of right now. Yeah. Like if someone's in a relationship that you know is bad for them, yeah. But like they just stick with it. It's really hard not to get kind of like mad at them, you know, like because like you're like I'm your friend and I'm looking out for you.
It's because you were. I think what it is you start off nice. You start off just like saying a couple things, and you're like.
I throw subtle jabs.
You throw subtle jabs, and then when that doesn't work, you have to ramp it up a little bit. And you're just trying to be nice the entire time when you're throwing out these jabs. And then eventually you get to the point where you're like, you're not getting my hints. I just need to tell you directly. And that's when people typically start to get mad. Is when you don't pick up on the subtle hints. Yeah. And you just need to be upfront with them and tell them how you actually feel. And
I mean,
where this is actually going to turn out.
We won't talk about the context of it. Like you've seen me. Like eventually, like after a while,
I've seen it build up. Like it was very subtle, very fair in the beginning, very fair. Like just here's this, here's this, and then months later, you're just kind of like, okay, here's what I think. Here's what I think is going to happen, and we'll see where that situation goes from here.
Yeah. I'm really good friends with Johnny because both of us can kind of be like that. Like I'm not afraid to like really. I have a few friends like Johnny and Connor. I don't know if I talked about Connor, but like these two guys are friends from high school, and I'm not afraid to call them out, right? Because I've had like a lot of experiences with them where I'll just like
how long have you known them?
I played tennis with Connor since freshman year of high school, and I've known Johnny, but not really good friends. I've known Johnny since like middle school, but I wasn't really friends with him until like sophomore, junior year of high school.
Okay, so these are friends that you've known for anywhere between
like 7-8 years.
7-8 years,
yeah.
So you're really close with them.
Yeah, and like they're at the point where like I know that we've both given each other like back and forth advice that we like is kind of rough, but like it turns out I think the important thing is after the situation, when you see it play out and you realize, hey, they knew what was happening, like they had a point. I think every friend like interaction needs a point like that. I think every like relationship needs a point where you see the merit of their arguments, and then you're more willing to accept them and also like go at each other more directly.
Yeah.
What's your typical approach to like advice? What do you say? Like
specifically, like
we'll set up a specific example. Friend of yours is in a relationship.
Okay.
You think it's bad for them. You see them like maybe like slacking on other things, giving up their priorities. Maybe they're not going to the gym anymore. Maybe they're not going to the gym anymore. That's what I did for back in high school. And
so this is me helping you back in high school.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you see, you guys not really going to the gym as much, not really hanging out with your friends as much.
Yeah.
Just kind of being more like secluded, just relationship. What's your approach?
Initially nothing, because I would assume this is just they're in the honeymoon phase. They're gonna spend a lot of time together. That's just how it's gonna be for about a month or so. But as soon as it starts going over a month, and if they are like my gym partner and they're not coming anymore, I would definitely be like, hey, like I know you're in a relationship or whatever, but like you still gotta come with us. Like you can't just give that up. So like the first month, I would just tell them, hey, come to the gym with us. Come along.
So it's more
and then no advice. I would say no advice.
So you wouldn't even really talk about the relationship. You would be more of a hey, like this is a thing you need to do.
Yeah. Like this is something that we've already set up. This is what we've planned. This is what we've been doing for a while now. And I know you're in a relationship now. You still need to come here. Like if we want to, well, not even if we want to be friends. It's just the right thing to do.
The gym is the ultimatum.
No,
you don't live with me, you're dead to me.
It's just the right thing to do. Like you've set these plans prior to meeting this girl and talking to this girl and getting to know this girl. You should follow through on these plans, okay? So that's the one thing I would call them out for. But after like 2 months and these actions keep going on.
Are you assuming that they're still kind of ditching you, like
still kind of ditching and leaving, and it's starting to look a little unhealthy?
Yeah.
That's when I start talking with a friend group or a friend of a friend that we all know what's going on in this situation, and we start being like, okay, what do we need to do here? What's the best way to approach this without hurting their feelings?
I think that's the important thing. You like I've noticed that too. I'm glad you brought that up. I always have to go to like one of my other close friends. Like I'll talk to like Johnny or something. Like I'll kind of bring it up. I'll be like, hey, like what are like I won't even say my opinion. I'll be like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just want to see what they're thinking, and if you're
an anomaly or not.
Yeah, if I'm on my own, I'll keep my thoughts to myself. But if there's someone that agrees with me, I will pursue it. I'll be like, okay, what do you think? What's going on here? What should we do?
So if everyone else thought it was fine and but you thought it was like pretty bad, you would leave it alone, you think?
I think at that point I would kind of be like, this is a little dicey. I don't know how long this is going to last. Just state my opinions. Maybe not give everything, but just like a very vague summary of what I think.
This is still to your other friends.
Yes, to my other friends. And then if it keeps going for months after that, depends how much I see them. I might throw a couple hints, like, "Hey, come on, dude!" Like,
so you're like late game then. Because
we're looking like 3 months here at this point.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Come on, 3 months. 3 months, and you're ditching all of your friends to hang out with this girl. You can't make any time for us. I don't know. You start throwing out hints, and if they don't get the hints, that's probably there's a quick turnaround between like throwing out the hints and then telling them up front. You have to have that intervention before it gets too far. You can't wait an entire half year and an entire year before you tell them what you think, or things could get really ugly.
Yeah,
especially if they're blind to it, if they're completely oblivious about it. Because some people just don't realize what they're doing. Some people just like, oh, this is just what happens. This is just how life is. I have a girlfriend now. I'm just going to spend time with her. Your friends are still your friends, but you just don't hang out with them as much. Some people just don't know, and sometimes they just need that little nudge and that little reminder.
I think the difference between that is all experience, right? Like So I had in high school. I remember this was when I first started lifting. Probably half a year into lifting, I had some buddies. I'm just gonna name drop. So it was a guy named Gage, Jackson, and Alex. I remember one of them, Alex, one of my good buddies. He's at Purdue. But he was telling me, he would always tell me, he's like, yo, like, that is bad. Like he would straight up tell me to my face. I think like a month in, he'd be like, dude, that's really bad for you. Like I can tell it's bad for you. And I was like, dude, screw you, man. I know what I'm doing, right? Because this was my like first like real relationship. Like and that's the thing. I'm not blaming people because I've been in that place. I've been really into that place, and it's like it's tough because it's that the rose tinted glasses thing. One of my favorite lines from BoJack Horseman. I've talked to him about it all the time. But it's through rose tinted glasses. The red flags just look like flags, and it's really like I think that's a great point because it is really hard when you're like in that scenario, and you always I think the thought is, I'm in this situation. They're outside of it.
Out.
I know better.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thought process, and I remember it was so hard because when it finally crashed and burned, I went to them. I'm like, you guys are right. I'm sorry I didn't listen.
Yeah.
But from that point on, I was definitely more like I would always truly take into account what they were saying.
And you kind of take a lot of their the advice that they give you for granted, especially if they've never been in that situation. If you're the first one of your friend group to be in a relationship position, you're not going to listen to anybody. They don't know anything. They don't know any better than you. They don't know what you're feeling. But if somebody has been in the position where they've had a relationship, a great relationship or a failed relationship, and they're starting to see those red flags pop up, then you might take their information a little bit more to heart and kind of apply it and see what's going on, and maybe take a step back from where you are and realize, oh, this isn't everything I thought it would be, or there's more to this, or so on and so forth.
Actually, now that you brought that up, it's a quick little question. Would you trust the guy, like, okay, for relationship advice, would you rather trust the guy who's had 2 long successful relationships or 10 failed relationships?
So that's hard.
I've always liked this question.
Okay. So the guy with 2 long relationships, is it one ended badly and there's one still going, or they're both?
They were both like one is still going. One was an amicable like 3-year relationship, like a long one. Term. And then this other one's like, let's say 2 or 3 years also.
Okay. I would listen to the person that has, I would listen to the person that had the long-term experience.
Okay, we're different. We
are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because so in my opinion, I think we are these people.
Oh.
Now that I think about it, I didn't think about it before I asked the question, because I've had a lot of the failures in the past. So like I know what, like I've had a long one, but like I know what can go wrong. And I think I would trust someone who also knows what can go wrong. Because like the thing about like a good relationship, obviously, like I'm not saying it's bad, right? It could be perfect. It could be a great relationship built for each other. Maybe they're soulmates.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in that. But
I'm not.
I don't know. But like even if it's a great relationship, in my head I'm always like, okay, well that's chance. Right? Like that's chance, you know, maybe they just fell together, maybe like by luck of the draw they haven't fallen into these bad spots. But the bad relationships, like 10 of them, I'm like, okay, this guy clearly he's having some issues. Like either he has bad, taste, or he's some problematic guy.
You know what I think immediately, now that you brought that up, if he's had 10 failed relationships, I'm just like, oh, it's 100% the dude. He can't fit with any girl for more than a couple months. And that's what I think immediately. I'm just like, I'm not like you. That's what will go through my head. I'm not gonna let this relationship fail like you failed your 10 other men.
Actually, that's true. It's really hard. Now that that's actually a really good point, because you hear that and you're like, okay, well, I'm not as bad as you. I'm better than you. I don't need your advice. So
and the person that has had the long-term relationships, they've seen probably everything. They've probably been through every fight. Maybe not. Let's not assume anything. But they've broken up with a long-term girlfriend. Okay, so
there was some issue there.
There was some issue there, and they got out, even though they didn't see the red flags before they eventually got out.
So what if it was just one relationship then?
So
what if they never had that breakup? They've just had 1 3-year relationship and it's ongoing. Would you? Because my thing at that point is like it because. Don't get me wrong. I still like don't trust the guy fully that has the 10 failed ones.
Yeah.
But at that point, like with one guy with 1 long relationship, I'm like, okay, well, like maybe you just got really lucky. You haven't had the situations to argue.
And see, that makes it hard. I might have to listen to the other guy because he has seen the red flags.
Yeah.
The person that's been with the same girl for 3 years, maybe there's red flags everywhere, and he's rocking those rose tinted glasses. He can't see anything.
I think this is something where quantity is like. Don't get me wrong. Like you need long experiences, like long relationships to get that experience. Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of true failures, like crash and burn.
Yeah.
I think quantity is something like quantity and like just variety is something that's really important, because like there's multiple things. Maybe it's lack of communication. Here it's like oh you didn't spend enough time with him and you were thinking about it, or hey, maybe it's you spent too much time with him. You guys like, I think just that breadth of, obviously if it's all 10 of the same failures, I'm not going to really do much for you, right? But like I think 10 shows you like, okay, this guy has messed up a lot. Assuming it's a normal person who like kind of learns. Like I think you can learn a lot because you can learn like each one what the mistakes were, like how to fix them there.
I think at the end of the day, you just have to listen to both of them, and if they're both telling you the same thing.
Oh, if both are telling you the same thing, you should probably listen.
Yeah, you should probably listen. They've seen it all together.
Yeah. I think the tough thing is just getting that advice. Going back, I think it's so. So do you view like that experience as like, because I think you brought up. When I said listening to friends, I think your example you brought up was you are in the relationship, they've never had that experience. Mm-hmm. The worst thing was when I was getting that advice, they were all far more experienced than me, and I just didn't listen.
Oh, okay.
But it's hard because experience isn't an end all be all of like end all be all. Is that how you say?
End all be all.
Isn't an end all be all of like of perfect advice? Knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Because
they're not. At the end of the day, they're not you, and they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. Yeah. They can only see, as a third party, they can only see what might be going on. They don't see the entire picture. So even if they have great advice, you might have to take it with a grain of salt because they're not you.
I think though that if someone's saying there's a problem,
but if everybody's telling you there's a problem,
yeah,
or maybe they're just all conspiring against you.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. All your friends have turned against you. No. But like, I think the thing is though. Now that I think about it, I think if someone said, "Hey, this thing is wrong," especially, I'm just gonna go from my side. I think we're both at the point where like we're willing to take that. Like at least I listen, right? Like I wasn't before in the high school, but now I'm willing to listen. I think if someone says there's something wrong, there's gotta actually be something wrong for them to call me out. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's someone like you who you said you weren't confrontational. Yeah. Especially if someone like you is taking the effort to like call me out on something. Yeah. I think I don't know what I do, because it's really hard to get someone to be like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll break up with him, right? Like, because it's really hard for someone to just pull that trigger.
I think you just need to remove one lens out of the rose tinted glasses. Yeah. You got to open up their eyes a little bit. Maybe open up their third eye.
Their third eye.
Yeah, their third eye.
Their sixth sense.
Yeah, sixth sense. Yeah. Their pineal gland.
Because as soon as you get that first like.
Yeah, you get that. You get that.
It sounds kind of bad. It sounds kind of bad because it's like you're planting a weed and it grows kind of thing. Yeah. But honestly, if you're truly doing it to help them, and you're not like implanting like fake stuff. You're truly just pointing out stuff. That first, like I remember basically my past ones have all been, as soon as I got that first whiff of something wrong, I was like, wait a second. There are 20 different things that are wrong here.
Yeah. Well, if they plant the seed and they're just like, oh, that's not true, and then you keep an eye on it for it now. Your mind's open. You're seeing if it's there, and then you spot that it's there. You're like, uh-oh, they've been telling me other stuff too.
Because it's actually,
should I start listening to them
actually,
now?
it reminds me of one of those things where it's like you have a habit or you say a certain word and your friend calls you out on it. They're like, you say that a lot. You do that a lot. Yeah. We've all been called that. All three of us have been called out on it.
Yeah.
I've
stopped saying certain phrases because you guys make fun of me.
I kind of do this thing like that, but like, I don't know, it's like a tick almost for me. Yeah. So I can't really stop it. Mm-hmm. But like I noticed, like every single time I do it, I'm like, oh crap. Like immediately I'm like, damn it, they're right. And like I do that a lot. Yeah. Right? Like that's the big thing. Once maybe it doesn't go for like maybe for like a few weeks you don't even notice it, but as soon as like it resonates, like they hit that same frequency. Yeah. There it is. You know, it's over from that point. Mm-hmm. I think I just stumbled at the point.
Pee break over.
Yeah. Well, they weren't supposed to know we had a pee break.
Oh.
I came down here telling you. I was saying, hey, by the way, I'm just gonna cut these together, so no one ever knows it happened, and then you just ruined the effect.
You can still cut it now.
No, it's too late. It's too late. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Wait, we didn't go anywhere.
So where do we want to start? I don't know where we ended up just now.
Some relationship advice once it goes sour. You want to move on? You want to summarize that?
Yeah. So I think in summary, just like it's hard, right? Like I definitely understand because even though I give advice and I kind of get upset, agitate, it's I can't help it, right? Like even though that happens, I've never blamed someone for being stubborn when I'm irrational. When I'm irrational, when I'm irrationally mad or something like obviously I'll blame. I'm like, oh, why can't they listen? I know best. I'm great at it, right? but like when I'm rationally thinking about it, like logically, I'm like, okay, like I think I told you this before. I'm like, yeah,
logically
I was
thinking.
Oh no, illogically thinking.
Wait a second.
When I'm not illogically thinking, I think I brought this up to you. I've said, in the past I didn't listen to advice. Mm-hmm. So I won't blame other people for that because it's just really hard to listen to people when you don't have the experience.
It's so interesting. I've always been in the seat where I give advice. Not too many people give advice to me.
Really?
I don't know what that says about me.
Huh, interesting.
Or maybe I just get a lot of advice and I just don't listen.
That's probably what it is.
I just shut off my ears.
Luke, I've been dropping hints to you like every 30 minutes the past year we've been living together.
Yeah,
about everything, and you haven't picked up on a single one. Oh. You've still been leaving everything everywhere, just peeing on the seat.
No.
No.
Liar.
But so I just think overall though it's really difficult. It's weird because experience. It's kind of one of those things. Experience humbles you.
Yeah.
Like you think that experience would like make you think like. Experience. Oh, back to ego. Experience is one of the things that I think actually tames down ego. Like, so we're talking about starting jiu-jitsu next semester. Actually, a good time to bring this up. And something I've heard from everyone, Luke especially, is that it really, really shuts down your ego real fast because really people just kick your ass.
30 seconds.
Yeah, less than 30 seconds.
It'll take you 30 seconds to realize.
I think it might take me 5 or 10 seconds, and then I realize.
When you grab a hold of some people, you're just like, oh, I can't move this guy.
As soon as you try to shove someone and they just don't move.
Well, no, it's like he's smaller than me, but I can't do anything. That you just get this overwhelming sense of just helplessness.
Sometimes,
and it's a feeling that most people won't get over the course of their life.
Yeah.
And as most people should roll. Most people should roll a couple of times.
I don't think it happens until like you're in a situation where like I've had that experience somewhat, like a lighter experience. Like sometimes we'll like stupid guys will be like, oh, let's wrestle or whatever, right? And like sometimes like a smaller dude, like the funny thing, everyone looks at me, they're like, oh, it's a big dude, he's gonna take everyone down, right?
Yeah.
So it's hilarious to everyone when the smaller dude that's got like I've got like 50 pounds on, because I notice it. As soon as they grab me, I'm like, oh no, they know what they're doing. I can tell just by someone grabbing you.
Yeah.
Like same way, like I did taekwondo for a little bit, but like I can tell when someone's like kicking or like punching. I can tell if they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with like, even though I never wrestled like you did, when I feel someone like grab a hold of me, I'm like, uh-oh. Like,
Yeah.
Because there's a sense of like, I think it's some of that survival instinct we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's built into your brain. You're like, I'm in trouble because
I need to get away.
yeah, because I don't know what.
Yeah.
Especially when you're like, I don't know what they're doing, and it
Yeah.
scares me.
Yeah. And I think that's the great thing about jiu-jitsu is they're not going to hurt you, so you feel comfortable and you're not going to panic, but you realize you can't do anything. Like even if you wanted them to like stop or like you had to move your body around to make them stop, you can't. You just can't.
I imagine it's a bit like arm wrestling someone, and then you try to go, and it just doesn't move. Because you're in no fear.
Yeah.
But you just know there's no way you're winning.
Yeah. And then once they start going a little bit, and they make it look so easy, and you're just struggling.
Yeah.
That's what that feeling's like. You just slowly seeing your hand go down, and you can't do anything about it.
Touches the table, and you're done.
Even if you bring in your second hand, you're not too sure if you can bring your hand back up. That's what that feeling's like.
I think it'll be good. Not only physically. I think physically we're gonna get. I think we're gonna do really well physically next semester. And just be in shape. Super. That'll be the most in shape I've ever been.
Maybe.
For sure.
Maybe.
I think maybe.
Like it's a hard thing, but.
What if the first day someone puts me in a hold and just breaks my arm and I'm just done? My body just breaks down.
No, they won't do that on your first day. They want to keep you.
On my second day, they want the revenue, right?
Typically, they go really easy on you until you're like 2 months in, and they're like, okay, he's dedicated now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At that point, you get a little cocky, a couple moves, you think you're hot shit or whatever, and then they throw you in with like a blue belt, and they're just like. They're like a year into their experience, and you're like 3 months in, and they're kicking your ass, and you're just like, no, I'm so helpless again. I feel like a newbie, even though I've been doing this for 3 months.
I mean, it's the Dunning-Kruger thing, like the effect where it's, what is it, like experience goes like this, like confidence goes like this. Actually, I'll make it for the camera. Confidence here, experience here, and like confidence goes up, and then drops.
Yeah.
Because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And I think that's such a cool concept, is that like...
I was about ready to say that earlier. Like, people that are really smart realize how dumb they are. They realize, oh, there's all this shit out here. I don't know any of it. I know I know this particular field. I may be an expert in this field, but I know nothing else about the thousands of other fields.
Every time I start, it's not even a school thing for me. Every time I start, like this is kind of a, mundane example, but every time I start playing a new game, for example, right? I'm playing the game, I'm like, okay, I know, like, I'm getting the hang of it, I know what I'm doing, whether it be Smash, RuneScape, which I just started 3 days ago.
Wow.
Like, yeah, WoW wasn't, I didn't really know what was going on, but like RuneScape, I played as a kid, and I was like, okay, well, I know more than most people. I came in, nothing, absolutely no idea. Smash, I always thought, oh, I'm great, and then I listened to some people talk about it. Or like that's
chess.
I always thought I was like, I'm still better than the average, but that's not saying much because the average person doesn't even know how to play chess. But like
when you hear grandmasters talk about chess,
F3 knight F4 takes B4.
When that dude was recalling a match that he watched, didn't play. Did he play or did he watch?
I think there's something he watched. Yeah, it was something he watched. He watched a Magnus Carlsen match, and he recounted like an entire play. He knew the entire board in his head.
Yeah, and it was from years ago.
Yeah, there's people who play. There's a type of chess. I don't know if it's as popular anymore, but there's a type of chess, blindfolded chess, and you sit there, like with a board there, and you just say your moves. You say your moves, and like blank board, you just say your moves to the other person, and someone else is like kind of recording, and that's how you play. It's nuts. It's nuts what some people like. Yeah, chess. I think I've talked about. I've been getting back into it, and it's as you learn. I think it's kind of disheartening at first. I think the first drop is really disheartening because you're like, wow, now I have such a big path ahead of me. But it's also great because like you look back and you're like, that guy thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah.
Well, just wait. Just wait until you.
Wait. Yeah.
It's always like just wait until you fight or just wait until you play like someone that actually knows. And they just mess with you.
You realize where you're at.
Yeah.
You understand.
You know your place.
You know real quick where your place is.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near the top.
That's such a cool concept. I mean, it makes sense.
And that's when you learn the most. When you realize you're not the best, that's when you understand, okay, how do I get there? What do I need to do to get there? And that's when you start to learn everything that you need to learn to get better.
I'll go through phases of that in the gym. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll always get to the phase where I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm like just doing the same thing. I'm strong, and then someone will come up and be like, hey, by the way, wrong. And I'm like, oh no. And then I swap it up and it's like hard and I'm like figuring out, but that's always where I make the most progress. I go in like waves. I have like plateaus and waves.
Yep.
And it's just that part of it, I think mostly it's just like kind of that drives your determination, right? Like you're like, well, now I got work to do.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to plateau and stay there, like just get comfortable with something. And then I think everyone needs, that's why it's always been the thing where like, what's the phrase? Like, don't be the smartest person in the room or something. Is that what it is?
I've heard that.
Something like not wanting to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
It's about the company you keep, right? I always try. Honestly, I like making sure that like people around me, I always know someone that's better than me at something because like it drives me. That's what motivates me.
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of interesting that you brought it back to the gym because I'm on this Olympic lifting kick right now. And I'm pretty strong in like the bench.
Is that the Murph? No.
Olympic
lifting,
snatch and
clean stuff,
yeah. And there, at the gym I go to, there's a Olympic lifting club, and every now and again, like just I'll take 10 minutes of my time and just watch their form. I'll see a girl just go over and clean like, not clean, snatch 100 kilos, which is like 220 pounds. That is, for anybody that doesn't know, my current max at the clean is like 275, and she snatched, which is a significantly harder movement, like 50 pounds under that. My snatch right now might be 200 pounds, and she's doing it effortlessly. And I just look at her in amazement. I'm just like, I think I'm stronger than her everywhere, like deadlift, squat, bench, but she destroys me in that movement, and it makes me a beginner again. It makes me want to learn how she's doing that movement, how she's doing it so effortlessly. It's all about becoming a beginner again and just learning those new things.
I think that's a stronger drive than the competition with someone near your level. So
Maybe.
My buddy Alex, I talked about, but the reason why we made so much progress on bench initially is because we would compete, and we had like, we lifted like 3 days of bench in a row at like a week sometimes. So like we would compete, but it was great and we made a lot of progress. Yeah. But it's nowhere near the same
plateau.
Yeah,
because you start doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're doing what you know. When you realize, oh, there's a million other things I don't know, I need to pick a couple things to learn to do better.
There has to be a really big skill gap. Like the reason why when I play tennis, I don't like playing people my level. I like getting whooped.
Really?
Honestly, I love playing against people that, like, if I get 6-0'd, I'm having the time of my life. I legitimately have more fun when I lose 6-0 than when I'm like winning 8-0. Like 6-0. Winning 6-0 is less, like winning 6-0 is so much less satisfying for me than losing 6-0. Because winning, I'm like, okay, well, great. Actually, I genuinely, like, this isn't like just like saying anything about like people who are new to the game or whatever. I literally like get worse when I play worse players. I think it makes sense because now you're used to their worst play. You're used to their spontaneity.
You start to learn bad habits.
Yeah.
And then you continue those bad habits thinking you're good.
Because you can get lazy. You
get real lazy.
Yeah.
I noticed this a lot in wrestling. Wrestling, there's rankings to it. There's like new people that have been in it for a year, people that have done it for a couple of years, and then kids that have done it their entire lives. In high school wrestling, you'll face a lot of kids that have very little experience, and you can get away with just being lazy. You can just be stronger than them, just be a little bit quicker. But then once you start to face a guy that knows what he's doing, he's been doing it his entire life, you're like, I forgot everything that I've ever known because all I've been doing were bad techniques, easy techniques, and you would lose. You would lose because you just forgot how to be competitive.
It's like the difference between like, it's like there's like scrawny kids and you can just headlock them, like you can just headlock to win, and then dude puts you in a triangle choke, like, and like you have no idea what it is. It's just that.
Or BJJ? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Like it's just like seeing that vast just valley of difference is such like a strong motivator in my eyes. I mean, obviously some people, say weaker minded people might be like, oh well, that's scary, that's daunting, I don't want to do that. But I think like people that mean you, I think a lot of people, I'd say a lot of people see that like that's their drive to win. But because I think competition is a strong motivator, but it's not nearly as big a motivator as like just seeing someone so far ahead of you.
Yeah. Again, they're good together.
Yeah.
It's no fun just to get, if you're playing tennis, 6-0'd. Every single match.
I might be different.
At some point, you just be like, oh, I'm sick and tired of this. But then you realize you have to put the work in to get better.
But I like because like if like my thing about being so for example, I've played some like really good people. Like I've been 6-0 easily. Yeah. You know, like even just guys on my team, which like they were good. Mm-hmm. Like they're not even close to like the top 25% of people who are out there.
People who play tennis.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is, I love playing people like that because I start to copy their movements. If I win a point off people like that, I'm like, wow, I'm making progress. Yeah, because it's the nice thing is it keeps your ego in check the whole time, mm-hmm. right? It's like because when you're playing against someone worse than you, for example, or you're like wrestling someone worse than you, and then maybe they get a point or something, you're like, all right, whatever, they got a point. I'm still gonna win because I'm better. Mm-hmm. But like when you're playing against someone better than you in something, and you squeeze out a point, it's not an ego thing because you're not even like, oh, now I'm better than them because you're still losing 5-0. Mm-hmm. But now you're like, oh, now I'm a point up in this game. That means I'm improving.
Yeah.
I think that is the difference between competition because competition is like, okay, I won, whatever, I'm the best, right? Like usually you beat the other person, you lift a little bit more, you win by a point. I'm the best, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing against just an immovable object kind of thing, and you just squeeze out that 1 point, you're like, I'm getting better.
You're like, I'm not terrible anymore. Yeah. I was able to do something.
Like imagine like BJJ, like if someone's like got you in trouble and you like kind of almost get out, you're like, oh, I almost had that. You know,
or like you get out of the first one,
and then they get you again,
and they get you again with something else, and you're like, oh, made it out of the first one.
Yeah,
I'm getting better.
I think it's such a cool concept. That's why I do love doing new things. I'm definitely not like as adventurous as you are in terms of going out, doing stuff. But like in terms of like learning new skills, like just picking up on new hobbies or whatever, I love doing that because that sense of progression is just something that like that's why I never understood people who like don't have like hobbies because like I'm like where do you get your like sense of achievement? Like you have to have some kind of like lofty goal. I've never agreed with the goal setting where it's like, oh, like set like a very reasonable. I know there's merit to it or whatever.
Are you talking about like SMART goals?
Yeah, like short term, like manageable, whatever. I don't like that because I'm like, okay, I'm like because you reach the goal, you get the sense of achievement, and you kind of plateau.
And then what? Yeah.
Yeah, I like being like, I want to play Roger Federer and take a game off of him. That's the kind of goal. Like that's the kind of goal that I think would be like a good goal. Yeah. Like I want Magnus Carlsen to like sweat a little bit, like just a goal like that. It's very like obviously
he shivers in his boots a little bit. Yeah.
It's very like obviously it's pretty unrealistic, but I think it will overall I think has a stronger drive for you.
Yeah, I think that's just a great super long term goal. You just gotta set those more specific goals, the SMART goals in between there to help you get to there. Yeah. And even if you don't get there, it's not like you failed. No one expected you to get there.
I still think like it's like the thing. What is it like? Shoot for the moon.
Shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
Yeah, something like that. Where it's like I think that people who set those small like SMART goals or whatever, they might get to like the stratosphere or something. But like the dude who like aims for Mars, he's at least getting out of the orbit. Like if he like truly works for it.
Yeah.
I truly think that setting lofty goals and like falling short feels better to me than hitting these small goals. There's a short-term achievement. There's a short-term like dopamine hit when like, oh, I hit this weight or whatever. Yeah. But it's like it's not nearly the same thing as like, oh, look at how far I've come. And seeing how far I've come is more important to me than hitting these individual milestones.
I'm more of a milestone guy.
You're more of a milestone guy?
I'm more of a milestone. I'll look back when I'm at the top or wherever I consider the top to be. That's when I'll look back or even once you hit the milestones, you're like, okay, here's what I've done in a month, and I can see, okay, that's a lot of progress, but I've still got other things to do. Let's keep going. It's always good to, even once you achieve your ultimate goal or your long-term goal, find something else. What else can you do? Okay, your goal is to run a 5K. Cool, once you run the 5K, run it faster. Okay, you ran it faster, now what? Do a 10K.
Run a marathon,
Yeah, run a marathon. Oh, marathon's not good enough?
Ironman.
Go do an Ironman. Oh, an Ironman's not good enough? Go run 100 miles. Oh, that's not good enough. Go run 200
Across
miles.
the country, baby. Forrest Gump.
Yeah, just Forrest Gump it a couple of times. Like, there's always things that you can do. And people are going to be like, oh, that's impossible. That's physiologically impossible. Shut up. Who cares? Just go do it.
Yeah.
Like you can't think like that. If you want to achieve your goal, you can't think like that at all. You can be like, shut up. You don't know anything. You are the professional in your field. Shut up. I'm gonna do this.
That's why I've always liked when people give me those like kind of goals, because I've never ever shot someone down when they give me like a really like even like a jokingly like unachievable goal. I've always been like, hell yeah, like you know like someone's like I'm going to take down McGregor in his prime. I'm like, you do that, like I'm gonna be clapping for you, like because I think it's really disheartening. Like I've had people before, like I'll say something even like joking like that, even just jokingly, and someone like shoots you, they're like, all right, like, but like you're here, like you know you're not gonna get there. Even like when you're joking, it kind of hurts. It's kind of disheartening, like to hear that. You know,
I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there so much faster.
I think it depends, right? Because sometimes I've had situations where I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna do it. But some other times you're like, oh, you know, you're right. Like it's futile. Like I might as well not try. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with we were talking about fat shaming.
Oh.
Fat shaming is a bad term.
Big topic.
Fat shaming is a bad term.
Let's get into it.
Calling people out on their lack of physical fitness.
You can just say fat shaming.
Fat shaming.
Yeah.
We both agree that it works. All right. Like it is a success story for us.
So far, we're not the finish line yet.
Right, but like
we've
improved a lot.
We've done a quarter of the race.
I'm saying from where we were like before we started lifting.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm saying from like when we first started getting like really like fat, because I got made fun of a lot.
For context, we were chunky kids. We were really chunky kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that one. Oh, kind of a little bit.
That's not bad.
There's a few bad ones.
One?
Yeah, next employee of the month might be a bad one. So stay tuned for that one. But yeah, like I think that for us it worked. Yeah. I know a lot of people. What would you say is the percentage of people it would work on? You think?
5%. I think it's really low.
You don't think it works on most people?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people are weak mentally. I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people are weak mentally.
Do you think it works better on people who are really, really like obese, or do you think it works better on people who are like kind of just out of shape?
I think it
like I wasn't kind of like chubby like us, or like really like genuinely morbidly obese.
I don't know who it works. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what external factors are.
Yeah, it matters your internal motivations.
At some point you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I don't like how I look right now, and I need to change that.
It's kind of crazy that some people never hit that point, you know? Like
some people do get that. Some people see that they look at themselves in the mirror and they say, "Oh, I don't like this," but it's not going to change. They come up with these excuses like, "Oh, my parents are big.
I'm big bone.
I'm big bone now.
I don't think anyone uses that.
I'm genetically predisposed to be predisposition. Predisposed. Okay, I've been predisposed to be fat, or
we really question our vocab a lot on this podcast. I think
I do it all the time.
We're illogically ignorant.
No, but we do this a lot too.
We throw out words, but like we're 98% sure of them, but like we just want to check, so we're not making a fool of ourselves.
Yeah, it's always good to like check and make sure you're not just using words and you have no idea.
Keep your ego in check, you know.
Yeah.
But you were saying about like people who make excuses, right?
Yeah. Excuses. Yeah, they see themselves in the mirror. They start to make excuses, and they just assume that's their life now. I'm just gonna be big, and there's nothing I can do about it, which is a super unhealthy mindset.
That's such a scary like I can't imagine getting to, because I mean I'm at a point where I'm so scared of being fat again.
Yeah.
Because I was a fat kid, and like it terrifies me to like lose my identity of the lifter. You know, like that's what I am now, and that terrifies me. So I think that's what's keeping me in check. It's so scary to think that there's people out there that like they see it and they're just like, and like they're just, and like that's how they decide to live.
Yeah.
Because like that is the scariest like life for me. Like imagine just having trouble getting out of bed, right? Like just like rolling out of bed. Big. I'm not even talking like or like maybe like getting out of a chair. Like maybe like you're like oh like this is kind of a struggle, or like getting in your car, like putting on a seatbelt.
And you're at the age where you're supposed to be healthy and young. Like you're 25. You shouldn't be struggling to get out of your chair at 25. I don't know what to do or what to say. Some people just need to look in the mirror and be like, how can I change?
I guess I don't understand. Like the thing is, I think this is bad for a lot of people. Even people who are successful, right? Even people who are like, oh, like top of their class. You know, they're in graduate school, or maybe they're in a profession. They're like, even those people, they're like, sometimes you'll talk to them. They're like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, physical fitness, you know, that's like a side thing for me. I'm like, here's the thing. There's two things you got.
Yeah.
Your mind and your body.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, you don't want to neglect your mind, but like, you have to live in your body.
You have to, yeah. And your brain's not going to be much use. Your mind's not going to be much use if you're dead at 49, 45 because you had a heart attack because you were 150 pounds overweight.
I just don't, like, I understand. There's important things, right? Like friends, family. I view this as very important. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'd give up like the whole physical thing for them. But at the same time, it's like, how do you put physical like fitness so far behind? I think the thing is, a lot of people view it as like an extra, because they see bodybuilders, right? They're like, oh, they're just doing it to like show off. They're doing it.
Bodybuilders kind of ruin fitness for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because you remember. Have you seen like Pumping Iron or like the old 1970s bodybuilders?
Yeah.
They were depicted as just heavy, like strong egos, narcissistic people that would just like do curls, look good for their own for their own bodies. They just cared what they looked like and they cared about nothing else. But in reality, well, that's kind of where they started. But as fitness started to evolve a little bit, it was more about your overall health and how you looked and how you felt. And I think a lot of people just think, oh, those bodybuilders, those people that work out are just super narcissistic, and I'm not a narcissistic person. I don't want to be like them.
It's kind of the example where it's like, oh, Hitler ate bread, therefore if you eat bread, you're Hitler.
That's exactly that argument.
Because they correlate like, oh, everyone who does this is bad, therefore I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the whole like you know, the thing where it's like this activity isn't bad, but the community is terrible.
Yeah.
One of those things. Yeah. You know, it's like it's really hard to get past that. But I don't think there's that same stigma where I know there was a stigma where it's like, oh, people in the gym are like judging me. I think a lot of people have gotten past that.
People do not judge. People are happy that you're there.
Not even. Here's the thing. I won't go like I won't say I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'll say I'll respect people who like just for going. My thing is I don't care. I'm not looking at anyone. I'm trying to. No, I'm working out for myself. I'm working out.
So somebody that will be or inspiring. I don't know. Anyways, as somebody that's like heavily involved in fitness and someone that fitness has changed my life for the better. I'm just happy to see more people in there. Mm. I'm just like, oh, like you may be in a tough spot now, but if you keep coming, you're gonna like what you see. You're
the good, like you're the top like 10% good. Yeah. I think there's like a bottom 5% that are bad.
See, I used to be somewhere towards like that lower bad where I'm just like, oh, what are you doing here? You don't belong or here, whatever. Having that just nasty, ugly mindset. But then as I started to lift and realize how much this has helped me, I'm like, why would I hoard this? Everybody should have this.
No, don't allow people to take from the finite pool of gains.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
But I think what changed it for me wasn't exactly seeing how far I'd come, but it was just the people who helped me. There were like somebody like powerlifters helped me with my form, some bodybuilders helped me with like lifting, like
technique,
or just like talking to me. You know, like I talked to some guys clearly stronger, bigger than me, like more healthy, more successful. The nicest guys I've ever met. Yeah. The nicest people I've ever met have been in the gym. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
They have no ego. They're at a point, and like talking to them, I'm like, wow, like. I think so highly of myself, and I think that I'm better than these people. These people don't even think they're better than me, and they are. Or like these people don't have that thought that like, oh, you shouldn't be in the gym, even though they're leagues ahead of me. Yeah. And I think that's what did it for me was that seeing how humble real gym, like every person I met that's like really into the gym, like truly big and everything, humble, like most humble people, and they got nothing to prove anymore. And I think that's something that really struck home for me. That's how I reached that conclusion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I'd say that, so bottom 5%, I'd say, yeah, there are people who look down, 5 to 10%. And then I say there's top 10%, like you who are like really, really happy to see people in. But like there are other 80%. I think people view it as like more like a 70-30. 70% are going to like kind of look down on them. I think that's like...
It's a small minority.
The 80% that I'm in don't really care about anything else. Like we're in there to lift and get out.
100%. There's
no one's paying attention to you.
No, yeah, a lot of people just put their headphones in and just are focused on what they're doing, what their goal is. That's good. That's not bad. They're not judging you.
I think expanded to a wider part of life, that kind of applies for most of life. People are always like, oh, people are going to judge me. I'm like, 90% of people on Earth do not care.
Yeah, most people are so focused on what they're doing where they don't have the time or the energy to think about what you're doing.
Just think about how unaware most people are. Like when you're like talking to something, people are just like doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. Just think about like how unaware. Like it's not even like unaware. People don't care.
Yeah.
People have their own lives. Like I can't remember what that thing was. Where it's like you realize that everyone has their own complex life or whatever, and it's like an existential crisis. But that's the thing. People have their own lives. People don't care. Yeah. And I think it sounds really harsh to say at first, and it's a really hard reality to reconcile with. But like, people don't care about you. Yeah. And that, but like,
I love that you put it like that. People don't care about you. Okay.
It's really harsh at first, but it's
the vast majority of people don't care about you.
Okay. Yeah.
People do care about you. Most people don't care about you.
Please don't cancel me. But
you're trying so hard.
Yeah, but like that's not 99.9 like repeating.
Yeah.
% of the population doesn't care about you. Mm-hmm. That's a scary thought at first, I think, for a lot of people. Yeah. Or like kind of a like a depressing thought for people. Once you get past that, you're like, wow, I can do it. I'm free.
It's depressing for the people that don't think past that original statement.
Yeah.
Oh, the world doesn't care about me. I don't belong. But then you realize, oh wait, hold on. I know like 100 people really well, and those are the people that care about me, and that's such a minority of the world.
It's a freeing thought. It's the most freeing thing. Like when I came to that conclusion, I'm like, I can kind of do whatever I want. It's my life. Not like I can't go out and like publicly, I can't publicly defecate and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like. Oh, I could. Most people probably wouldn't care. But
don't get caught, right?
Yeah, but like, I think it was such a freeing thing because I was like, wow, I can choose whatever I want to do with my life, and I think that's why I have such a focus on friends and family because I'm like, I know other people don't care about me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go out of my way to harm them, but I also don't care about them. Therefore, I'm just going to focus on what matters. I think that's a good place to be.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the majority of people.
You're probably
I'm in the minority in a lot of situations.
I was going to say, I wouldn't speak for you, but I'd say that you're probably more on the side of, you kind of care about people more, right?
Makes you sound like a bad person. You don't care about people.
But I'd say you care about the whole of people more, right? Like,
yeah. Like, I just want people to do better. I want people to live happy lives. I want people to be nice.
I want people to be able to be happy. I want everyone to be able to be happy as long as it doesn't... I mean, it's the same belief I have for every... This isn't getting political, but it's the same belief I have for every single, like person's actions. Mm-hmm. You do whatever you want. Yeah. Very, very... Am I allowed to say libertarian? Very, very libertarian thought, right? Yeah. Like, I want everyone do what you want as long as you are not infringing on other people doing what they want. Yeah. And I truly believe that. Like, don't get me wrong. Personally, I might not disagree with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I might not like that you're doing opiates on the street, but like, if it makes you happy and you're not like robbing people to get that money, let's say you're an executive and also you do opiates on the side, right? Hey, you're not hurting anyone. Hey. I don't care.
Yeah, you're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing.
He's living his best life.
You're not hurting anybody else. Fine by me. No. But if you're somebody that does do that and then does do something bad, then we have a problem. Right?
I think that's the crux of the golden rule almost. It's like do unto others or whatever, right? But it's like, I feel like most people I'd say just want to be left alone to do their own thing, right? Not lonely, but like I think most people just want their family to be left alone.
They want their small circles.
Yeah. They don't want like someone kind of put it like this. It was on one of Colin Noir's videos, but it was this guy talking, and he was saying kind of the Asian mindset is, I don't want your help. I don't need your help. I just want you to leave me alone. And like I really agree that it was really funny when I heard that, but I was like, yeah, like I think that's kind of where my mindset came from, because I'm like, it's weird because China's very collective culture, but like individually, most people still like just focus on themselves individually, and I I really like that. I think it's like you're responsible for your own success and failure, but also, you know, like we're not gonna mess with you. We're not gonna try to take from you. We're not gonna try to give to you. Mm-hmm. Do you? You know?
Yeah, you do you.
Do unto others. Wanna wrap up there. It's a good message to wrap up on. I think. Yeah. We ended with a positive message, everyone.
We did it.
Do unto others. Do no harm. Go lift weights.
Go lift weights. Get in the gym.
Talk to that friend that has like kind of a rocky relationship. Talk to him about it. You'll wish you did.
They need some help.
You'll wish you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't road rage. Don't drink and drive.
Yep. Follow the law.
Follow the law. Don't break more than one law at once.
Oh yeah.
That's a big one. Don't ever break more than one law at once.
Why is that, Dave?
That's how you get caught on the big ones. Don't do the big ones.
Yeah, that's how they caught.
Don't do the big.
That's how
ones.
they caught Al Capone.
Yeah.
Tax evasion.
It's crazy. Tax evasion is probably a bigger crime than the other things he did. And the racketeering and the murder. Yeah. No, pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes.
Or at least say you did. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, guys.